Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about 4 common mistakes that lead to inaccuracy in disc golf. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that well before I started my disc golf store, when I first started playing disc golf, being accurate is probably one of the most difficult and frustrating things in the sport. Missing your line by a couple feet can lead to you kicking out of bounds, hitting first available, and so on and so forth. So today I wanted to break down the common mistakes that I find in players that I coach, and with that try to help you guys become more accurate players and reach your goals and have a little bit more fun on the course. So let's get straight into it. Before I talk about the first mistake, I like to separate my accuracy into 2 different categories, one being vertical accuracy or accuracy on the y-axis, and horizontal accuracy, which is accuracy on the x-axis. The reason I like to break it up is because there are certain mistakes associated with each category. I like to break it down in a more simple process so that you guys can better understand it and that you don't get frustrated when you're missing to the left and up or way off your line. So you could break it down easily and help solve your problem. But without further ado, let's get started. The first mistake when missing too high or too low is having your pull through be on an uneven plane. And so what I mean by that is typically a lot of disc golfers will, in their reach back, pull from really low to high over their shoulder, and some even, like myself, pull from pretty high to low. And the reason why this can cause you to be vertically inaccurate is because when you pull from low to high and pull the disc over your shoulder, your disc is on a plane that is pointing upward. And unless you're intending to do that, it will easily set your disc off the line you intended. Same thing for going from down or from high to low. You'll just throw it straight into the ground or throw it lower than you intended. Now to fix this, I typically have people do this drill where you start in your reach back position, or what I call an active position, in your throw, where you're actively in your reach back, and then you're ready to pull through and try to film yourself pulling on an uneven plane. Preferably it'd be helpful if you had someone there putting the disc in the right spot for you, and then you just pull through flat and even, and try not to engage your arm over or lower than your shoulder. Just try to keep it on the same plane as your reach back. And the reason why I have you start in this reach back or active position is because you already have this muscle memory built up from your previous throw that makes you think that your disc golf swing is already doing the right thing. And it's kind of hard to break it down if you do your full swing trying to change your plane of your pull through. So that's why I like to simplify it and break it down to where you're already in your reach back position and then you're just thinking about pulling through. This will not only simplify the process, but it'll also slowly break down your old muscle memory and build up some new muscle memory. The question you may be asking is, where should my even plane be? Should it be up high? Should it be low? Should it be by your stomach or by your shoulders? Typically, that's all up for personal preference. Every player is unique. You could see on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, all these different players have different power pockets. For example, Drew Gibson has a really low power pocket where he pulls through by his stomach, just above his belly button. And you could look at other players like Anthony Barella on some of his shots, or Matty O, for instance. They pull up by their shoulders and by their chest area. There's pros and cons for both. I would say just do what's comfortable for you. If you pull down lower, it's probably be easier to get a little bit more power and spin, but it might be a little bit harder to control with angles like hyzer angles. And if you pull up higher in the power pocket, the opposite will occur. Might be a little bit harder to get some power and spin. However, I feel like it's easier to control angles and where you want to throw. So it's all up for your interpretation, what feels comfortable, and you could always change it, but I would just recommend doing what's comfortable for you. And for the rest of this drill, don't try to think about throwing too far. Just take videos of yourself and see how clean your pull through is and if you're pulling on an even plane. And then when you feel a little bit more comfortable and feel confident in your ability to do this, maybe you could start doing drills where you're actively throwing to a target. I like to start by throwing into a net, maybe a soccer net or a disc golf net if you have one, where you're aiming at a specific target and just think about doing your same pull through, aiming at the target. Or you could do it into soccer net, where the soccer net is big enough and wide enough so that it's a pretty reasonable target to hit, and it controls the height that you're able to throw at. Now, the second common mistake with vertical accuracy is nose angle. If you feel like you're pulling on an even plane and that you've seen videos of yourself and everything with your disc golf throw you feel like you're doing right, you're pulling on that even plane and following through evenly, the next common mistake is most likely nose angle. So I've seen a lot of players from beginner all the way to pro level, when they pull on the even plane, their disc at the end of when they're about to release is nose up. That's probably the most common thing I see. And their disc is basically exposing the nose of the disc to the air in front of it, which causes the disc to lift and slow down, especially if there's headwind. Your disc will slow down even quicker. Now, I have also seen players throw with too negative of a nose angle. That's much more rare, but still happens. So the main thing you want to try to do is obviously throw with a neutral to slightly negative nose angle, and that could be done by using a different grip. I just came out with a video recently on 4 common mistakes found in your backhand throw, and one of them was nose angle, and so I'll link that into the description below. But essentially, most players that I see with positive nose angle have their disc too low in the palm of their hand, right here. And then when they grip, if they point it down as much as possible, the nose is still facing up. And so to mitigate this, you're going to want to put the disc just a little bit higher into your fatty part of your palm by your thumb, just a little bit higher, not so high to where you're barely holding on, but just a little bit higher, so when you have your grip, you can face it downward or slightly downward. And now you're going to want to not actively hold your wrist like this all the time, but you're going to want to activate it so it's relatively flat. And so when you pull through on that even plane, your disc will release neutral to slightly negative nose angle. Based on what I've seen, I feel like this carries the best results, that feel like they're throwing on that even plane and still throwing too high or too low. Now, moving on to horizontal accuracy, the 2 main misses are obviously late release or missing to the right for right-hand backhand players, and early releasing or missing to the left. And so I'll break down mistakes that I find in each, and first we'll start with the late release. So typically players that release late or miss to the right of where they were aiming, typically caused by 2 things. One, let's pretend I'm throwing this way. When you're in your reach back position and you're pulling and you start initiating your pull through to release the disc, you come in with your shoulder too quick, and this causes you to twist your torso too fast. For example, your left shoulder twists too quickly, and then when you're following through, you face forward and release out. And so you can clearly see that you probably you could probably just see the edge of this disc or barely any of the disc. When you're moving in this semicircle motion, disc is gonna whip out to the right. So this can also be caused by rounding, where your disc is falling behind your trailing shoulder, or you're just twisting your torso pretty quickly and then releasing too late. So to fix this, you're gonna wanna start engaging your arm before you twist your shoulder forward, or twist your torso and engage your torso. If you look at this example of Gannon Buhr's throw, you could see that when he's pulling through, his chest is still facing backwards while his arm engages. It's not like it's staying stagnant, it's still twisting a little, but his arm is engaging much faster, and then when he pulls it through and brings the disc to his chest, then he rotates, and you can see that his body is only facing maybe 45-ish degrees forward, or maybe slightly less, and his arm is also releasing 45 degrees forward as well when he releases. And even more so, you can see that his disc is almost traveling on a straight line to his chest and slightly out. You want to delay your torso from twisting and have your arm come to your body slightly quicker than your torso twisting, and then you could follow through naturally with your release. This creates lag, which will kind of be a weird feeling for people that have never done this before, but it is key for you to prevent yourself from late releasing or releasing to the right. Now to talk about the early release, typically I find players releasing to the left or early because they're arming the disc and they're using their shoulder too much. When they're in their active or reach back position, the first thing they do is try to arm the disc like this with their shoulder and kind of lead with their shoulder up like this, and then quickly extend out 90 to 65 degrees in front of them, causing them to early release. And basically doing the exact opposite of what a late release does. They're not really engaging their torso too much, and they're not trusting their lower body at all. And so what they're doing is they're just arming it to where they think that all their power comes from their shoulder and upper body area to release quickly and in front of them. And to fix this, you basically need to understand the basic mechanics of good form. How I like to teach it is just to reach 45 degrees in front of you, go to your chest and release 45 degrees in front of you. And the reason why I teach the mechanics first and the path that you need to follow is because if I told you just to relax your body and to like have your torso be all noodly, it's not like you would know what to do. Your body would automatically know what to do. Some players are like that, some people are like that, just naturally talented, but most people, 99% of people, wouldn't be able to get it right away. So I try to teach good mechanics where you're putting the disc in the correct place at the right time, and then your body will naturally create this muscle memory knowing where to put the disc. And so when you put everything together, it should look like this. All right, guys, so here I am throwing my Halo TL3, and I'm aiming at that car in the distance. And I want you to notice two things. One, when I initiate my pull through, I start by bending my elbow towards my chest while my chest is facing backwards. Similar to Gannon Buhr here, although it's not as good, that's kind of what you want to do. And this leads to the follow through to where I'm not even thinking about where I'm going to release, but since my mechanics are so dialed, you want to be releasing 45 degrees in front of you with your body and your arm. And this will allow you to release relatively straight. And like I said, my form is not perfect. If you have these good body mechanics, your body will naturally release to the area that you're aiming. And not like this. So here I am throwing my Crystal Buzz. I'm trying to hit the same line as that Halo TL3. And you can see two things. One, when I pull through, my arm is activating way more due to me engaging my upper body. And my disc is ahead into the center of my chest comparative to Gannon Buhr. And this translates to when I release, where you could see that my body is releasing significantly earlier than Gannon Buhr. My body is maybe facing 90 degrees, maybe 80 degrees forward, and I release the disc significantly earlier and miss to the left of my line. So those were the 4 mistakes that I commonly see that lead to inaccuracy in disc golfers. I only covered 4 common mistakes that I see, but there are other problems associated with accuracy, and I know I can't cover them all in one video, but if you have any specific concerns and you feel like you do all 4 of these correct, feel free to put it in the comments below what your problem is, and I'll try to answer your problem to the best of my ability. And I'm sure somebody else can also comment under yours and try to help you out as well. Besides that, just want to thank you guys all for watching. I did get a mic from my buddy, but I left the cable at home, so I'm sorry if the audio isn't too good this time, but I'll make sure to wear the mic in my next video. Besides that, let me know what other type of videos you want me to make. Feel free to comment those down below. And if you guys can like and subscribe and visit my online disc golf store, www.disczone.com. We got a bunch of new discs in. We try to get weekly deals in as well. If you have time, it would really mean a lot. But besides that, thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.